أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واضرب لهم مثلا رجلين جعلنا لأحدهما جنتين من أعناب وحففناهما بنخل وجعلنا بينهما زرعا. Surah-Al-Kahfi, Surah number 18, ayat number 32. This verse marks the beginning of story number 2, history number 2. Wa idrib. Wa is and, idrib is hit. Basic meaning is hit. We can use strike, we can use set forth. We'll see how the meaning evolves or unfolds. Lahum, for them. Mathalan, an example. Rajulaini, two men. Now, okay, let's read the first iteration first, and then we'll come back to some of the nuances of how the language is constructed. Ja'alna. Ja'ala is a flexible word. It can assume different meanings based on the context. So Ja'ala, the basic meaning is he made. Fa'ala, the basic meaning is he did. So Ja'ala, the basic meaning is he made. But as I said, it is a flexible word. It assumes the meaning in the context of the sentence used, in which it is used. Ja'alna, instead of we made, the better translation is we provided. Li ahadihima, for one of them. Them here references the two men. So it's in dual, one of them, two. I mean, there's no separate them to indicate dual vis-a-vis plural in the English language, but in Arabic there is a difference, and I've mentioned this so that we know the construct that is used, but in English, one of them is fine. So one of them two actually sounds odd, but that's the intended meaning. So the two men, so one of them two. One of the two. But we cannot use the two as well. So one of them. We need to keep in mind the form or the construct used over here. Why two? Because there were two men. That's the example. And what did we provide for one of them? Jannataini, two gardens. Min, instead of from, we'll translate a little bit differently. Anabin is grape vineyards. So instead of two gardens from grape vineyards, doesn't sound natural English. We replace it with a suitable preposition in this usage. It may not sound like a preposition, but it is being used as a preposition. Two gardens containing grape vineyards. So that's how it is used. وَحَفَفْنَهُمَا. So this huma is two again, but this time it references the two gardens, not the two men, the two gardens. So we talked about Jannataini, two gardens. So this huma, the dual, is two gardens. Hafafna. So hafafna can mean, hafafna huma, we surrounded them, we lined them up, something like that. So we'll use the primary meaning and also try to capture the secondary meaning. So wa hafafnahuma bi naklin. So B is with, naklin is date palm trees. So how do we construct this? We'll construct it something like this. And we surrounded them with lines of date palm trees. So both surrounded as well as lined, that those two connotations are coming. The primary and the secondary meaning is being captured through this construct. So we surrounded them, وَحَفَفْنَهُمَا, them in the sense, the two gardens. The two gardens just reference Jannataini, right? So that one, not the two men. We need to be careful which pronoun, both are dual pronouns, but which pronoun references which. For example, the same construct is hima and huma is the same basically. Which dual pronoun references which one? So that we need to be careful about. Okay, and we surrounded them with lines of date palm trees. So we surrounded them with date palm trees is also okay. B is with and naklin is date palm trees. That's also okay. We try to capture the secondary meaning as well. And we surrounded them with lines of date palm trees. So we lined them, we bordered them, we surrounded them. All the meanings are coming, are expressed. We are trying to capture as many meanings as possible. And actually, we bordered them. That's true as well. So what did we border? We bordered the grape vineyards with these date palm trees. And that has a purpose. Grape vineyards are delicate, and so these are strong. Date palm trees are strong, so it protects from nature. Okay, from strong winds, something like that. That's the purpose. So wajalna, and we made. So instead of we made, we will use a suitable word in this context. We placed. So okay, as I said, jala is a flexible word. So the basic meaning is we made. Let's read ahead. Bainahuma, between them. Now, this is in reference to the gardens again. Between them, in reference to the gardens again. Between them, two. Between the two gardens. We made between them zara'an, a farm. We made between them a farm. So, it doesn't sound natural in English. We placed between them a farm. Sounds better, and that's what we are going to use. So, as I said, jala is a flexible word. The basic meaning is he made, but it assumes the meaning, and we substitute in the translation in the target language the word that fits best in the context. So the same word is used in this sentence twice, and we have translated it differently so that it fits best in the context of both occasions. So that is allowed. That's not a problem at all. Now, this is okay. The complication is that the initial part. What are we talking about? Hit them and hit for them. An example, two men. What is it even talking about? It doesn't sound normal English. So what we need to understand, so Daraba in connection to when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala transfer them to a specific state, which is different from our worldly dimensions, the youths I'm talking about, that was used in a different context. We explained it at that time. So, again, the basic meaning is it, but we gave you 3-4 examples of what it could mean different. So here again, it's a bit different. It's a physical hitting. I mean, hit can be used for metaphorical, also figurative also. We know that. So here also, it's not really a physical hitting and hit them. So them references people, that's okay, but it's not physical hitting. It's a metaphorical hitting. It's figurative hitting. So, and lahum is for them, but if we translate literally, then it sounds very odd. And hit for them and strike for them. In fact, strike for them and strike them are two different meanings altogether. In fact, strike for them would be wrong in this context. It's not strike for them, strike them. So the preposition is sometimes omitted in the English language. It's not required. La here, which means for, the basic meaning is for, it's not required in English. You would notice that some of the translators or scholars have translated and set forth for them, which is an okay translation in this case. The intended meaning is and set forth for them. So different constructs use different prepositions even in the English language, and strike for them is wrong. Strike them with an example is better. So where is the with coming from? The with is not coming from anywhere. With is not la, but we have to use the preposition, though that preposition does not exist in this Arabic sentence. So prepositions you can play around with, not to change the meaning, but to preserve the meaning in that sense. So if we use set forth, which is an okay translation, and set forth for them an example, that sounds natural, that is okay. But set forth, you will begin to wonder, okay, what is it talking about? Why set forth? The word uses daraba. So, and hit them with an example is fine, and strike them with an example is better, according to me. And strike them with an example. What is it talking about? So, it's talking about just like we do. And strike them. This is physical, of course, but that is figurative. And strike them, it struck them. We say it in English language as well. So it means to shake them up, to draw their attention. So that connotation is implied over here. And give them a powerful example, to draw their attention, so as to shake them up. So that is the intended meaning of the word daraba over here. And now we understand that. And strike them with an example. I've explained why la is not translated, and with, though it's not there in the Arabic, we require that preposition for for a proper English construct sentence. Now, after mathalan, there is rajulaini. So I said set forth is an okay. Many translators have done that, but mathalan and rajulain, it's shocking to see that they have translated. Most of the translators or scholars have translated it as an example of two men. Or sometimes they have translated the example of two men, both of which are wrong. It's not an idafa construct. Mathalan, it's not mathala. There's no scope for addition of word of in between these two words. There's no scope whatsoever. And anyone who knows basic Arabic grammar, need not be advanced, basic, they know that. How could you do that? How could all the translators do that? And where are you getting the proper connotation from? Nothing is proper over here. Mathalan is common, and rajulaini is common. So you cannot, the example of two men, you can't do that. So what is the intonation then? We need to develop a feel for the Arabic language, the nuances. We need to develop a sense for that. We need to develop a taste for that. What is it talking about if it's not off? and strike them with an example, that is two men. What is it? Even this doesn't sound natural when we are reading it as a declarative sentence. But it's not a declarative sentence. We need to understand. That's what I was saying. We need to develop a taste for the Arabic language. We need to develop a feel for the Arabic language. We need to develop a sense for the Arabic language beyond what's written in the words. We understand that in English. We understand it some of the languages we are accustomed to. Bangla, for example, Bengali, Hindi, Urdu. Some of the languages which we are accustomed to. For different people, those languages could be different. Spanish, Chinese. Chinese is not even a language. Mandarin, for example. I mean, just as Indian is not a language, Hindi could be. Okay, so similarly, so if we develop a feel for different, if we can develop a feel for different languages, why not Arabic? We should do that. Okay, and that will not happen in one day. I know that. I understand that. I appreciate that. It will take time, but we need to make a conscious effort. We need to try to make, and we need to try. We need to attempt. We need to make a conscious effort towards the same, and strike them with an example. That is two men. So what happens, it's the words of the Quran is kalamullah, it's speech of Allah. And speech functions as speech. Speech and the written text is very different. So now I'll try to read this with that sort of an intonation and strike them with an example. That is two men. You cut short. Just as when you're telling the title of a story or a speech and you give the title, you don't use filler words. So similar is the case over here. And strike them with an example. That is, two men. Jump straight to the point. That is the intonation. And strike them with an example. That is two men. Not of, nothing of that. The example, no, nothing of that. Nothing of that. And then ja'alna, why we have substituted for the word made and substituted with provided. We have explained. It's a flexible word. Ja'ala is a flexible word. We know that. Everyone knows that. Anyone with a basic exposure to the Arabic grammar and Arabic language, they know that. And we provided for one of them, and we made for one of them is okay, but we provide for one of them is better. And them, I have explained everything. Two gardens containing grape vineyards, and we surround them with lines of date palm trees to protect the vineyards. I've explained all of these. And last again, ja'ala is used, ja'alna, and we made between them a farm. We placed between them a farm. So all sorts of blessings. This story is sometimes called the story of two men. Sometimes it is referred to as the story of the rich man and the poor man. Both are okay. Two men or rich man and poor man. So the rich man, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him, one of them, with these sort of ni'mah, these sort of blessings. Two gardens containing grape vineyards, and the gardens were surrounded with lines of date palm trees, and between the two gardens there is a farm. We need to understand the layout of this entire setup that Allah has blessed him with. It will come in handy a little later, and we will understand why is that. So we'll read through it once. I think I've covered everything. A farm, you could say, a cultivated field of crops. A cultivated field of crops. So you have crops. You have your carbohydrate requirements satisfied. You have your grapes, which satisfies your vitamins and minerals. You have date palm trees, date is a wholesome food. It's one of the rare foods which is a whole food in itself. Very few food items are like that. So he was blessed with a tremendous amount of blessings. Date, so many minerals and vitamins and minerals and so many things. So that is it. We'll just read through it once. وَإِضْرِبْ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا رَجُلَيْنِ جعلنا لأحدهما جنتين من أعناب وحففناهما بنخل وجعلنا بينهما زرعا. And strike them with an example. That is, two men. And we provided for one of them two gardens containing grape vineyards, and we surround them with lines of date palm trees, and we place between them a farm.